Books by Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander, PhD. Books by UniquilibriuM. Books by World Reading Club. Officially, the bookstore is here, and right now I'm sitting at the Badass Coffee of Hawaii in Virginia Beach, and I need to update my site, World Reading Club, to reflect that my bookstore is now live. I have 5 books online right now. The the web address is books.by/uniquilibrium. So that's books.by/uniquilibrium. books.by/uniquilibrium. Yes, I made it complicated for you to get there. Books by Uniquilibrium. However, right now on the World Reading Club website, there are currently 3 links at the top of the page when you go to worldreadingclub.com that say book list, PDF library, and podcast. And right now, what I'm specifically going to do is add a page that is called Bookstore. Yes, so creative, I know. Bookstore. So I previously already posted links to the books on HakeemAlexander.com, but not yet on World Reading Club. I was testing out. So far what I have on books.by/uniquilibrium, the first book I have here is All That Blooms Must Die. And that was for my PhD thesis at the University of Metaphysical Sciences. I gave it a plain black cover. I'm wondering when I've ordered copies already if the print comes in if it's going to have this white band on it. But I'm going to read the text for each book that I have on here. And so this will serve partly as information and also promotion for the 5 books that I currently have available in my own boutique online bookstore. No middleman. Of course, I mean, there's always going to be somewhat of a middleman, right? But really all that is here is a payment processor and then shipping. It's all print on demand. They're paperbacks. And I'm really glad that the technology has finally caught up. I do have some of these same books on Amazon, and you could probably get them faster. However, and this is direct to me. There's not a whole bunch of the malarkey that goes on with Amazon. Although I really do like Amazon for a lot of things. I mean, they own IMDb, the International Movie Database, which I'm on because of my work in art department and special effects, behind the scenes in film, television, and music videos. So, and the they also own the site. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there's something called Goodreads, and Amazon owns them. Now, I don't know if they bought them after the fact, but Amazon owns both Goodreads and also the International Movie Database. So I'm guessing it's probably one of the things that they acquired because they also acquired Whole Foods, which is crazy, right? So all these brands that are now owned by Amazon. So you have Whole Foods, the International Movie Database, and Goodreads are just a few of them that I know. Anyway, so back to what I was saying, the books here. So the first one that I have that I added to my bookstore is All That Blooms Must Die: The Eternal Echoes Thesis, and it reads: All that blooms must die. Eternal Echoes of the Universe is the foundational text of Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander's Uniquilibrium philosophy. It transcends genre, operating simultaneously as a compelling work of cosmological science a rigorous metaphysical dissertation, and an intimate memoir of loss and discovery. The book is structured as a philosophical journey. It begins with the author's personal story, a poignant account of how personal tragedy and a lifelong sense of isolation fueled an obsessive quest to understand death, eternity, and the nature of reality. This vulnerability establishes a powerful connection with the reader, framing the ensuing cosmic exploration as a deeply human rather than purely academic endeavor. Alexander then meticulously builds his bridge between science and spirit. He explores the Big Bang, the nature of time, dark matter, and the multiverse, not as dry facts, but as concepts laden with metaphysical meaning. Central to his inquiry is the innovative concept of META physics, his proposed standard for a more grounded and informed metaphysical practice that honors the rigor of science. Chapters delve into the role of consciousness in shaping reality, the limitations of language in describing the cosmos, and the profound interconnectedness of all beings. The narrative is enriched with references from Stephen Hawking and Brian Greene to Eastern philosophy and personal poetry, creating a rich tapestry of thought. Ultimately, this book is invitation, an invitation to confront the universe's grandest mysteries without abandoning the search for personal meaning. It is a call to embrace a holistic understanding of existence, where the ache of a personal ending and the theory of cosmic heat death are seen as part of the same eternal pattern. All that blooms must die is the first essential step into the World Reading Club's mission to explore the balance of our unique existence within the infinite whole. Quotes: The way you want to live your life is mastered by your own self. Flor Elizabeth Carrasco. It's always fun reading stuff in third person that's about me. So that, and from what I know, what I can tell is that's sort of the best practices for writing long descriptions and blurbs and other things like that for the work of authors. So there's that. And it's going to be very helpful as I'm continuing my path towards the literary agent portion of my domain here. So, and that's another thing for another day. So also the books, this book.by site for Uniquilibrium for World Reading Club is so excellent. There's a little photo of me at the top, a black and white photo with my kind of looking over my shoulder, and I'm wearing an advanced boxing gear hoodie, sleeveless hoodie that I got taken at a photo studio in Parkland, Florida, and I think it's the best for it's, and I actually put it in the latest book that I published up there. Which, and these are rather short. All that blooms must die is 66 pages, and I made it a small book that you could stick in your pocket. And so then, so anyway, underneath the picture, it says books.by, and then there's that little photo I just mentioned, and it says World Reading Club, and then the World Reading Club, the blurb, which is celebrate the joy of learning by promoting the love of literacy. And then I have this strange prose that I actually pulled out of a lucid dream that is sitting underneath that says, the trees are taller where the land is earlier. And if the trees are taller where a night has fallen, there I do not carry my lamp. So that's the first one that's on there. is All That Blooms Must Die. So while I'm doing this in the bookstore, I'm actually going to put, first of all, just the link to books.buy up here. So what should I copy? Oh, so on HakeemAlexander.com, I actually put there were some what I thought were good ways to describe that it's going to redirect to the bookstore. So, for example, one of them says, explore the author's dedicated bookstore, offering exclusive access to their body of work and the opportunity to enhance your personal library. Let me click on that link. It goes directly to the all. That's right. I remember I did actually do that. So, what I'm going to do, let me see what other ones I have here. The other ones say, let's see, and these are, so I have one for the yoga book and theory to practice. This one says, this redirects to the author's exclusive bookstore where you can easily commission unique books and build your personalized collection. Now, I like that one. I'm going to use that first right now on the World Reading Club bookstore link. So I'm just going to copy that and put that there for now and hit publish so that it's there, because I've been telling people already that the bookstore is open. So now I'm just going to get this link to books.buy/UniquilibriuM. I'm going to use that as the hyperlink for that. So let's get a little editing in here really quickly. So there's that. That goes directly to the bookstore. I'm going to open in a new window. Actually, you know what? I'm doing a little bit of an experiment here where it doesn't. I mean, if you want to go back, the whole point is to get people to go to my bookstore in the first place to be able to to easily commission unique books. You know what? Let me make this big and bold at the top. I'm going to hit it as a heading, and not just an H2 heading, but an H1, just the biggest one there. And then I'm going to take this whole thing and center that on the page, and eventually some, I'll put a featured image on there, but I'm going to take a look at that. Right, there we go. And it just has been black, red, and white like a newspaper. Well, actually, isn't that Joko with black, white, and red all over? So this is going to be, so I have it, this redirects to the author's exclusive bookstore. So let me click on that real quick. See, yep, just goes right there. Perfect. So now I can continue the editing of the bookstore and adding the individual links to the individual books, which fortunately I already have the text and the direct links to all the books on HakeemAlexander.com to do that. So now the next book that I have posted to the site, and these are all print on demand, and you can get them shipped anywhere in the world. It's $5 worldwide shipping. So I've actually made it so that I only earn $1 off of each of these books in order to keep the price as low as possible for these, because these are my initial books to open my bookstore. These were the ones that were part of my world building, and one of them is my thesis. And to be quite transparent, I didn't say this before, but you can also find the thesis, which is called All That Blooms Must Die, on Amazon, and now in my books.buy/UniquilibriuM exclusive World Reading Club bookstore. But it's also free to download on several of my sites, one of them including the swordpaper.com site. I believe it's on World Reading Club and HakeemAlexander.com, probably other places. And it's also on the social networking site for scientific research, which is ResearchGate. So, but this is for people who want to support the work. And so, and also, so that's why these are there. I mean, you can get them for free, but some people have bought the books because they want to support continuing my work. All right, so moving on to the next one is From Theory to Practice, Engaging with the Eight Limbs of Yoga. Dr. Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander. So let's take a look at this one. This is not a very long description here for this one. This one reads, From theory to practice, engaging with the 8 limbs of yoga is a thoughtful and practical guide to integrating the full wisdom of Patanjali's Ashtanga system into modern life. Moving far beyond physical postures, author Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander explores each of the 8 limbs, from ethical living, yama/niyama, to meditative absorption, samadhi, with clarity and personal insight. Drawing on over 20 years of teaching and practice, Alexander bridges ancient philosophy and daily application. Readers will find accessible techniques for mindful movement, breathwork, and meditation, alongside reflective guidance on building a consistent personal practice rooted in self awareness and compassion. This book is an invitation to deepen one's journey from the mat into the world, offering both beginners and seasoned practitioners a structured yet flexible path toward holistic well being and self realization. Quotes: The practice of meditation, a vital aspect of the 8 limbs, becomes more meaningful when grounded in ethical conduct. Dr. Alexander. Yes, that's me. Okay, so that, and the reason why it's more about a personal practice than anything else, even though there's tip, guides and tips for teaching and things like that, it's because the book that I first read when I started teaching yoga, the very first book I ever read about yoga that I know of, back in 2004, was called The Heart of Yoga by TKV Desikachar, which there was a quote that stood out to me in the in the um, in the book that says exposing the conditioned personality, and that resonated so much with me and everything that I do, especially as a clinical hypnotist and exploring the subconscious mind. That I thought, yeah, exposing the conditioned personality. That's one of the things that this does. Okay, so from this text. All right, and uh, all right, so good. That's just I got distracted. That's what that little bit of vocal silence was. Okay, so anyway, you can read the book. That's what it's there for. And if you're in the state of Virginia, Virginia Beach, and we happen to cross paths, I will always have my books on me that you can get directly from me. And eventually, when the World Reading Club bookstore, uh, the brick and mortar location, wherever that may be, I'm looking at several places right now. You can always go in there and get the books. And the plan for that, which is already in motion, with starting with this online bookstore, which is just simply exclusively my own work, is going to be something very similar, but there's going to be more than my own work. So, all right. So moving on is the longest book. This is a couple hundred pages, I think like almost 300 pages, but didn't quite make it there because I put 6 books together that I had previously published, and then added a new one that was unpublished. And this is Demonology, Uniquilibrium. And I spelled demonology Demonologie just because I can. I like making things difficult to spell. Not really. That's just how I am. That's what it is. So let's look at the long description of this. So let's see, what time are we running here? Almost 20 minutes. That's fine because I'm really just there's multiple purposes for me recording while I'm working. It's like an office hours thing, and It's one to get this information out there because this podcast will go live and it'll say something like books by Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander on World Reading Club, and then it'll have all the links to the different books in it, which will also help with the search engine optimization and also for my English students and people who just like to hear my voice or just random chattering. But it's really not that random. Sometimes it might sound like that because, well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of my random chattering integrated within the more focused stuff, which is the reading of these book descriptions. All right, demonology, uniquilibrium. Demonology, uniquilibrium is a comprehensive 7-part exploration of demonology and exorcism from a revolutionary perspective. Author Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander, drawing on decades of research and personal initiatory experience, systematically deconstructs traditional notions of evil. Book 1, Demons and Exorcism, provides a global survey of exorcism practices across major religions and cultures, from Christianity and Islam to African and Native American traditions, setting the stage for a more nuanced understanding. Books 2 through 6 offer in-depth profiles of specific demonic entities. Nergal, the Mesopotamian god of the underworld, explored through myth, symbolism, and his modern legacy. Volak or Valak, the enigmatic demon of knowledge and treasure with guidance on meditation and communication. Abraxas, the Gnostic symbol of duality and balance, analyzed from ancient texts to modern occultism. Paimon, a powerful king of hell, examined in historical context, ritual practice, and popular culture. Pazuzu, the Mesopotamian wind demon, tracing his journey from ancient artifact to icon of cinematic horror. Book 7 synthesizes the study, examining the origins of demonology itself. The central unifying thesis, introduced in the Mind Made Matters section, is that all spiritual entities are projections of human consciousness. Alexander argues that by understanding demons as psychological constructs, tulpas, we reclaim our personal power and responsibility. The book is both a scholarly resource and a practical guide to self-mastery, urging readers to move beyond fear and recognize that the ultimate battle between light and darkness is waged within. Quotes, demons, angels, and gods and God are all the same thing. They can be considered tulpas, mind-made matters. The reason that any of these things matter is because we think and believe they matter. What begins as a fiction of imagination can become the reality of your existence through repetition imprinted onto memory, while being amplified, directed, and accelerated by association with emotion. Dr. Hakeem Alexander. Okay, as you can see, there's a theme there in my books, and they all talk about basically personal responsibility and radical responsibility, which is something that I've come to have to accept because it's personally empowering rather than thinking that things outside of ourselves are responsible for things in our lives. There's a psychological strength that comes from accepting that we are the ones that create everything. Not in a law of attraction type of way, but more that it's perspectival, and it's very important to look at things that way from my perspective. But let's move on. The next book listed on the site is is called Beyond the Blue Planet, a passport to the solar system, which the long description reads as follows. Beyond the Blue Planet, a passport to the solar system, is a comprehensive and visually arresting journey through our celestial neighborhood. Framed not as a distant astronomical survey, but as a preparatory guide for humanity's imminent future as an interplanetary species. Author Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander constructs a narrative that is equal parts scientific reference, technological forecast, and philosophical manifesto, inviting readers to envision themselves as active participants in the next great age of discovery. The book begins by grounding itself in the history of human spaceflight, from the catalytic launch of Sputnik to the monumental Apollo landings, establishing the foundational spirit of exploration. It then swiftly pivots to the present and near future, detailing the meticulous planning and groundbreaking engineering underway to turn interplanetary travel from fantasy into routine. Chapters dedicated to each planet and major celestial region, from the sun scorched plains of Mercury to the methane lakes of Titan and the volatile weather of Neptune, are rich with data from NASA missions, yet are presented through the lens of a traveler. What would you need to know to visit? What would you see, experience, and need to survive? Alexander delves deeply into the tangible tools and systems that will enable this future. He explains the evolution of propulsion from chemical rockets to ion drives and theoretical warp technologies, the architectural challenges of constructing habitats from Martian regolith or within Europa's icy crust, and the closed-loop life support systems that will turn spacecraft and outposts into self-sustaining ecosystems. This technical discussion is consistently paired with human considerations, the psychological resilience required for years of isolation, the social dynamics of a confined crew, and the ethical frameworks needed to guide our interaction with potentially pristine extraterrestrial environments. Woven throughout is the unifying metaphor of the passport, a document of readiness and belonging. The book argues that our future in the solar system will be built on international collaboration and shared curiosity, transcending terrestrial borders. It confronts profound questions about our responsibility as explorers, the preservation of alien worlds, and the very definition of life and home. Augmented with carefully curated NASA photography and bespoke AI generated visuals that imagine future landscapes and technologies, the book is designed to both inform and inspire. It concludes by looking beyond the heliosphere to the Milky Way galaxy and the search for exoplanets, positioning our solar system as the first chapter in a much longer story. Beyond the Blue Planet is ultimately a call to action. It is a meticulously researched dossier for the next generation of astronauts, engineers, biologists, and poets, anyone who feels the pull of the cosmos. It provides the knowledge, frames the debates, and ignites the imagination required to take the next step, making the case that our journey to the stars begins with a deep and purposeful understanding of our own solar backyard. Quotes. Let this idea of a solar system passport capture the essence of our exploration, allowing humanity to chart its course through space. Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander. Yes, that's me. Now I'm reading in the third person. I just have to bring it back to reality for a second for myself. But that's what I have on the side. Like I said, best practices. Okay, what are we looking at here? 30 minutes. That's good. Be done soon. So finally, the latest one that is on there. Not very long. The longest one is the demonology book. It's 7 books combined, which is fine, which is good. Which gives me an idea of how to create my longer books that are going to be that length and more moving forward. Is that I realize that I have to write them in separate books first. So most of my books are probably, and I'm even thinking right now I'm going to be a numerologist, and I'm probably going to start making them just so I can put a cap, so I have a beginning and an end, and make them 9 books long. So there'll be 9 books, and and then with whatever, maybe there might be prologues and epilogues, but that's what it'll be for now. Who knows? But I'll write them in 9-book series and then put them all together and publish them like that. All right, so the final one that was just added to the bookstore today, December 5th, I believe, 2025. Sometimes my days bleed right into each other because I'm constantly working overnight and going to sleep. Like this morning, it was like 3:30 in the morning, and then woke up at maybe 10 or 11. I don't even remember. Then started working and doing something else, and now I'm taking a break to do this. So, all right. So finally, this was going to be and may still be, but it was going to be the second thesis for my second doctorate in metaphysics. That was supposed to be so the first one is a philosopher of metaphysics, the PhD. The second one is a DMSc, or a Doctor of Metaphysical Sciences. And the first thesis transcript that I submitted was rejected, and I had like a whole bunch of points to do, and I get it because I had rushed through doing it. There were things like indentation that I didn't do, the font was wrong, the line spacing was incorrect, and so on and so forth. Then I presented this one, and then it wasn't long enough. So then, as I started, because there's a minimum of 10,000 words. I think it's between 10,000 is the minimum and 15,000 is the maximum that they want, because they deal with a lot of manuscripts, of the thesis manuscript. So as I was going through, looking through this one and adding more material to it, I had an idea I added some narrative to it, because part of what I'm doing is figuring out how to go from mostly expository and academic and nonfiction writing. Basically, I'll just put it under the umbrella of expository, to sci-fi and fantasy. And in order to do that, I need to start learning how to write immersive storytelling and narrative storytelling. And so right now, I'm bridging that by writing narrative nonfiction. So that's what this is: the Eternality Manuscript, a cosmic debate on the nature of reality. So part of it is narrative nonfiction. Another part of it is simply the middle of it, sandwiched between narrative. But it's actually fiction blended with nonfiction. It's You know what? I'll let the description here that I wrote speak for itself. The Eternality Manuscript, a cosmic debate on the nature of reality. Okay, again, remember I'm reading in the third person. So, a cosmic debate on the first principle of reality. The Eternality Manuscript is a genre-defying work that transcends standard philosophical discourse. It is a metaphysical thesis encased within a cosmic drama, inviting readers not just to study a theory, but to witness its interrogation by intelligences for whom our universe is a curious artifact. The book opens in the confluence, a non-space where reality membranes bleed together. Here, two transcendent beings engage with a human dissertation. Zixlar, of the Andromeda lattice, a Gestalt consciousness of pure logic who sees reality as a hyper-complex but computable system. Ing, Ingfuth, Ingfuth, the wandering echo, Ingfuth, the wandering echo, a being of recursive narrative from a universe where thought and story are the substrates of matter. Their debate frames the entire work, providing a thrilling, critical lens on the human author's audacious claim. The core thesis, the eternality axiom and omnifactor paradigm. At the heart of the manuscript is a foundational logical deduction. Reality cannot be finite. From this, author Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander formally declares the eternality axiom. This first principle posits that the fundamental nature of existence is an eternal, boundless, and atemporal plenum, a singular, complete field where all possible states, events, and experiences are simultaneously actualized. From this axiom, Alexander derives the omnifactor paradigm, a revolutionary model of consciousness and reality. This paradigm makes several transformative claims. Sovereign consciousness. Individuated awareness is not a byproduct of matter, but the primary navigator of the eternal field. The representational interface. The physical world we perceive is not fundamental reality, but a coherent interface, a shared narrative that provides context, contrast, and meaning for experience. The infinite library. Using a potent central metaphor, reality is an eternal library containing every possible book, life event, narrative. We are not the authors, but the readers, exercising our sovereignty through the act of perspectival selection, a synthesis of rigor and revelation. The Eternality manuscript is meticulously constructed using the META framework, mathematical, experimental, theoretical, applied, synthesizing evidence from diverse fields to validate its metaphysical claims. Theoretical physics. It integrates the block universe of relativity, the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, and the holographic principle as corollaries of the eternal plenum. Cognitive science. It engages with frameworks like predictive processing and the interface theory of perception, showing how the brain acts as a reduction valve for timeless awareness. Serves as a reduction valve for timeless awareness. Philosophy. It dialogues with thinkers from Spinoza to modern philosophers of mind, recontextualizing concepts of deity, free will, and evil within an eternal ontology. The work systematically resolves perennial paradoxes: the first cause, the hard problem of consciousness, the conflict between free will and determinism, by reframing them as features of a conscious entity navigating an infinite landscape. A journey forged in personal fire. This is not an abstract intellectual exercise. The thesis is profoundly grounded in the author's personal journey, from early artistic explorations of self mastery to the transformative wisdom of his late wife, Flora, and the ultimate test of navigating profound grief. The manuscript is, in part, an operationalization of its own axiom, a tool for building resilience and finding sovereign footing in the face of life's deepest challenges, an invitation to navigate. More than a book, the Eternality manuscript is an invitation and a manual. It calls for a paradigm shift from seeing oneself as a passive passenger in a predetermined universe to embracing the role of a sovereign navigator. It introduces practical principles like radical responsibility and the economics of infinity, providing an ethical and experiential framework for engaging with reality as a participatory field of potential. Who is this book for? Seekers and philosophers exploring the ultimate nature of reality and consciousness. Readers of cutting-edge theoretical physics and cosmology who appreciate deep ontological implications. Admirers of sophisticated, idea-driven speculative fiction akin to the works of Ted Chiang or Stanislaw Lem. Individuals on a path of personal growth, seeking a foundational metaphysics that empowers agency and meaning. Prepare to have your assumptions dissected by cosmic intellects and your perspective irrevocably expanded. The Eternality manuscript does not offer easy answers. It provides a formidable new framework for asking the most important questions, daring you to see yourself and all of existence as eternal. Quote, the book of our desired experience already exists. The work, or our work, is to cultivate the clarity, belief, and focused intention to locate it and sustain the choice to read it. The Eternality Manuscript. And so those are the 5 books so far in the books.by/UniquilibriuM store, which is the World Reading Club bookstore. Book 1 on there is All That Blooms Must Die, the Eternal Echoes thesis, From Theory to Practice, Engaging with the 8 Limbs of Yoga, Demonology, Uniquilibrium, Beyond the Blue Planet, A Passport to the Solar System, and The Eternality Manuscript, A Cosmic Debate on the Nature of Reality, by yours truly, Dr. Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander, PhD. And so now the bookstore is live. You can find it on worldreadingclub.com. The link will take you directly to the books.by/Equilibrium. So if you don't want to type that in, you can go to worldreadingclub.com, click on the bookstore, and their link will be therein, and you can look at the books, read those same descriptions that I have, and you may find that there are more books have been added to the bookstore by the time you check in with it. So now I'm going to add the rest of the individual links to that bookstore page and maybe some artwork, and it'll be good to go until I post it elsewhere in my whole syndicate that I have online. Until next time, be well. Remember to celebrate the joy of learning by promoting the love of literacy. Oh, one last thing. I do enjoy some good entertainment, motion pictures and television. And recently, so I was watching one of my favorite movies of all time, which is The Ninth Gate, starring Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp. That would be actually cool, right? We had like a parody or another multiverse character instead of Johnny Depp would be Johnny Depp. But yes, Johnny Depp, and he's a book dealer, and is commissioned to authenticate a book about the devil, and it takes him on this adventure to find uh, the truth about this, and it's a really cool. So anyway, I was watching that. You should check it out. It's a good movie. I don't remember when it came out. I think 1997, but I'm not sure. But it's one of my favorite movies. I've watched it several times, and I never get sick of it. It's just very interesting. I just love the whole book vibe. The whole movie is about books, and they're going to all these ancient hardcover, leather-bound books. It's a beautiful movie in that respect for me, for being someone who loves books that much, and who also has a 5 foot by 10 foot storage unit in California that's full of books. A lot of them older books, also from the 1800s, and I've got some newly acquired ones as well. But that's a great book. But the point is, so I watched that, and then I found, and I think it's on Netflix because I was at my sister's house when I discovered it. But there's a new movie out, I think relatively new, maybe 2024, 2025, starring Claire Danes, and it is called the Beast Inside. Hold on, you know what is that movie called? The Beast. Yeah, The Beast in Me, and it's a television miniseries. It's a limited series. Claire Danes, she's an author, and she she a neighbor moves in who is a guy who was accused of murder, and then she decides to start interviewing him to write a book about him. And I'm not going to give you any spoilers there, but if you're a booky person like me, if you're a bookworm and you like movies about books as well, that's one of them. So The Ninth Gate, definitely check that out. It's entertaining. And then of course that Claire Danes movie, The Beast in Me. When did that come out? Let me just check. Check here. The Beast in Me. What is it? What's the year? Yeah, 2025. The Beast in Me is 2025. And let's look. Was I correct about the Ninth Gate? 1999. I was off. Came out the same year as The Matrix. Go figure. Okay. So The Beast in Me and The Ninth Gate. And I'm also always looking for new movies or other movies about books. Found a couple of them, but there was one where there was a correspondence between a British author and somebody else. You know, something about I had a street address. I don't remember what it is right now, but I don't know. I'll check it out. Like a romance thing. I really want to see what it's all about because again, it features authors. There's not a lot of books, not a lot of movies about books and authors like that. So maybe in the future, I'm also gonna get going on doing one of those on my own. All right, worldreadingclub.com. The bookstore is now live.